Imagine waking up the morning after your wedding. The flowers are starting to wilt, the guests have all gone home, and the music that felt so loud just a few hours ago has finally stopped. You're left in the quiet of your living room with two things: a beautiful memory and a stack of invoices that might actually be bigger than a house deposit. Why do we do this to ourselves? Why is it that perfectly rational, financially literate people who would never overpay for a car or a laptop, suddenly lose all sense of math when it comes to a one-day celebration? The answer isn't actually about the money. It's about deep-rooted psychology. And today, we're going to peel back the curtain on why the wedding industry is designed to make you overspend and how you can fight back. Hey, I'm Diren. I break down money, psychology, and how to actually build wealth in simple terms. If you find this useful, consider liking and subscribing. We've all heard the phrase, "it's a once-in-a-lifetime event." It sounds romantic, right? But in the world of personal finance, that is arguably the most expensive sentence ever spoken. It acts as a psychological hall pass. It tells your brain that because this event is rare, the normal rules of logic no longer apply. It tricks you into turning a strict, calculated budget into a flexible suggestion. Suddenly, you aren't choosing a venue based on its value. You're choosing it based on an emotional high. To understand how we got here, we have to look at history. Take the diamond engagement ring, for example. We think of it as an ancient tradition, but it's actually one of the most successful marketing campaigns in history. Back in the 1930s, De Beers, a diamond cartel, launched the "A Diamond is Forever" campaign. They literally invented the 2 months salary rule. They tied an inanimate object to the idea of eternal love and social status. They didn't sell a rock. They sold a story. And today, we're still paying the story tax on everything from catering to photography. On average, couples today are dropping $30,000, $40,000, or even $50,000 on a single day. Think about the weight of that number for a second. That is 10 years of compound interest. That is a massive head start on a mortgage. That is the seed money for a business. Yet, when you're in the middle of planning, you don't feel the weight of the total. This is due to a psychological phenomenon called mental accounting. Instead of seeing one giant $40,000 price tag, your brain breaks it down into small, digestible chunks. You see a $1,500 cake and think, well, in the grand scheme of things, that's not bad. You see a $4,000 photographer and justify it because memories are priceless. By the time you add up 20 reasonable decisions, you've created a financial landslide. Then there's the sunk cost fallacy. This happens once you've already spent a significant amount, say $15,000. Now, every additional expense feels mandatory to save the money you've already spent. You think, I've already spent 20 grand on the venue and food. I can't have cheap decorations now, or the whole thing will look bad. You're effectively throwing good money after bad, just to protect an image. And let's be honest about what that image is. It's a performance. We aren't just asking ourselves, what will make us happy? We are subconsciously asking, what will the guests think? What will the photos look like on social media? We trade our long-term security for emotional amplification. This is where a simple dress becomes the dress, and a beautiful park becomes not special enough. In the wedding industry, meaning always costs more than utility. But let's look at the cold, hard math of opportunity cost. Imagine two couples, Person A and Person B. Person A follows the traditional path and spends $35,000 on their wedding. They have a blast, but they start their married life at zero or worse, in debt. Person B decides to have a beautiful, intimate celebration for $10,000. They take the remaining $25,000 and put it into a low-cost index fund. If they don't touch that money and let it grow at a modest 7% return, in 20 years, that saved wedding money has grown into nearly $100,000, while Person A is looking at old photos, Person B is looking at a paid-off mortgage or a college fund for their kids. So, I have to ask, what actually lasts longer? A 12-hour party or decades of financial freedom? This isn't an argument for being cheap. It isn't a suggestion to skip the celebration entirely. It's an argument for consciousness. It's about choosing your why before you choose your what. To break the cycle, you need a filter. Before you sign any vendor contract or put down a deposit, ask yourself one simple, brutal question. Would I still spend this money if nobody else was there to see it? If there were no guests, no Instagram, and no audience? Would this specific item still be worth $2,000? To me? If the answer is no, then you aren't buying an experience for yourself. You're buying a story for other people. Think about the hedonic treadmill. This is the psychological theory that humans quickly return to a stable level of happiness, despite major positive or negative events. The high of the perfect wedding day is real, but it is temporary. Within weeks, you will return to your baseline, but the low of a massive debt or drained savings, that stays. It creates stress in the early years of marriage, the very time you should be building a foundation of trust and security. The deeper truth that the industry hides is that weddings are identity decisions. We feel like spending less means we love our partner less. We feel like a budget wedding reflects a budget relationship, but that's a lie. Love is a verb, not a transaction. You do not need a $30,000 event to create a $1 million memory. Some of the happiest couples I know got married in a backyard with a barbecue and a few close friends. Their wealth wasn't on the tables. It was in their bank accounts and their peace of mind. At the end of the day, the goal is not to have the most expensive wedding in your social circle. The goal is to start your new life together without financial regret. The real once-in-a-lifetime moment isn't the day you say, "I do." It's the 50 years of Tuesday nights, the unexpected bills you can afford to pay, the vacations you can take because you aren't paying off a party from 5 years ago. Your wedding is the first chapter of a very long book. Don't spend the entire budget on the cover art. Focus on the story you're building after the music stops. Because in the end, it's not about how much you spend on one day. It's about how much of your future you're willing to trade for it. Choose the future.